Hey 2% Challengers, it's Coach Nicole here to talk to you with 4 tips about how to improve your sleep and meet your sleep goal for the 2% Challenge. Some of you may know I am a nurse practitioner and my specialty is in sleep medicine. So this is some of the stuff that I talk to my patients about on a daily basis, and hopefully it can help you. Tip number 1, keep a consistent bedtime routine. Creating a habit helps to enforce your sleep and wake cycle. So it allows your body to know what to expect. I recommend picking a bedtime and a wake time and keeping consistent with that and sticking to it. Choose a rise time and a bedtime that allows you to get at least 7 hours of sleep and no more than 8. Most people don't need much more than 8 hours of sleep time. It can be helpful to use a sleep diary or an app to keep track of your sleep, and I can give you guys some resources as we go through with the challenge to help with that. Tip number 2, create a restful sleep environment to help promote sleep. Have a quiet, dark, cooler room. You can use things like blackout curtains, a sleep mask, earplugs. Sometimes if you have a lot of traffic noise outside, that can be helpful, or if your family has a different sleep schedule than you, to help eliminate noise to keep you asleep. Also, if you need your phone, some people use their phone as an alarm. It can be helpful to plug that in away from your bed so you're not tempted. I know a lot of us are tempted to keep looking at our phones, and that just like really, before you know it, you're scrolling down through Instagram for an hour, and that's eating away at your sleep time. So try to plug it away from your bed, put it on do not disturb mode, and just get in bed with the intention of falling asleep. Tip number 3, watch what you consume at bedtime. Things like caffeine and nicotine, hopefully none of y'all are smokers, but nicotine is also a stimulant. Caffeine is a stimulant. Consuming those too close to bedtime can prolong your sleep onset, and the recommendation is that actually no consumption of caffeine after 2 p.m. Think about things like coffee, tea, soda, and even chocolate contain caffeine, and it can take several hours for those to be eliminated from your system. Alcohol is another one. Alcohol tends to make us drowsy when we drink it, but that is not a lasting effect. Alcohol can actually sabotage your sleep architecture and cause more sleep fragmentation throughout the night. The other thing is water intake. I know we're all trying to increase our water intake to be as healthy as possible, but with that increase in water intake, we really want to be drinking that from morning throughout the day and not just before bedtime. So if you notice that you are deficient on your water intake, try not to bolus that before bed. Otherwise, you're going to be up multiple times throughout the night, having to empty your bladder, and that's going to fragment your sleep even more. Avoid heavy and large meals before bedtime. If you're super full when you're going to bed, it's going to be uncomfortable and it might make it harder to fall asleep. The last point would be avoid strenuous exercise right before bed. If before bedtime is the only time that you can get your exercise in, that's one thing, but it is ideal to try to avoid intense exercise within 3 hours of bedtime. Tip number 4, plan ahead. This goes for anything and can really benefit a lot of the things that we're going to be doing throughout this challenge, but my advice would be to prep the day before. That's kind of what we do in our family. The day before, we think, well, what are we going to eat the next day? So we'll do our meal prepping, meal planning, pack lunches, try to get the dishes done, things like that the night before, and so the following day is not eating into our sleep time. That goes for activities as well and hobbies. If you like to watch TV or certain shows, try to get those recorded so that you're not putting pressure on yourself to be doing those right before bedtime, so it's eating into your sleep time. So just try to prioritize your bedtime. It can also be helpful to set an alarm for yourself. We all set alarms for the morning so that we can get up and be ready for work or whatever, but it's also helpful to set a bedtime alarm too. So maybe set it 30 minutes before you actually want to be in bed to allow yourself enough time to go through your bedtime routine, brush teeth, put on pajamas, get in bed, and be ready to sleep by your goal time so that you can allow for 7 hours of actual sleep time. That about sums it up. Don't worry, I know this is a lot of information to unpack. There's going to be more tips coming down the pike, and I'll be sure to post a PDF with those tips as well as some more on the community feed on our group challenge app. If you have any questions about any of this, feel free to send me a message or ask me during classes at the gym. I'd be happy to help you out any way I can.